Hey everybody, Sam Battersby. I'm here with
Stevie.
And we have Nick on the mic in the background. He is our voice of God today. So we will be going at you guys, busting some myths. Before we get to that, we have a big announcement. If you haven't already heard, SEMA 2020 was officially canceled yesterday. Now, we, as well as the entire industry, will not be at SEMA this year due to the current COVID-19 situation and kind of the unpredictability of what it will be 2 to 3 months from now. So unfortunately, we won't be down there, but it'll make for a huge, awesome show in 2021. And we will be doing some really cool stuff for you guys right around SEMA time. So we will fill in that blank with some cool content for everybody. But if you were going to SEMA or looking forward to seeing us at SEMA, we won't be there. I know Stevie is a little bummed. It would have been your first year out. Yeah. But I think some of us are a little bit relieved we'll get a year off from the show as well. It is an immense amount of work for a lot of our company. So a bit of a bummer, but we will use that time to keep the pedal down, and we'll still be launching some really exciting products for you guys. So keep your eye out for that. We'll be sure to make announcements when we get closer to that time frame. But without further ado, let's bust some myths.
Yes, so to start off, Aaron Kittle said, if you put olive oil on the dash of a 964, I will personally come to your house and put spaghetti and meatballs on it to finish the job. I thought that was funny, but I think we should probably keep it with like a German theme since it's in a Porsche, maybe like some schnitzel, have a little party.
Yeah, a lot of things go good with olive oil. I mean, it's a pretty excellent oil, but not car interiors. Putting olive oil on your dash or door panels or vinyl and plastics.
Or leather.
May work temporarily, but as far as it being an effective solution, we would say it is a myth. Please do not go crazy with olive oil on your interior. We actually found that myth. A couple of you guys submitted that in the comments on social, but we also saw it in multiple online articles from news sites that were, instructing their viewers in tips and methods to care for their vehicles, and that is not one that we would recommend. So some of the adverse effects of oil, of course, you're going to get glossy.
Oil spots. It looks good for a little bit, so you might, try it out, maybe if you're feeling a little daring and think it looks okay, but the long-term effects that it's going to have, especially on leather, is not worth it.
Yeah, and it can actually lead to degradation on vinyl and plastic materials, really any materials. It's going to magnify UV rays coming through the windows onto your interior surfaces, so it will speed up drying out, cracking, fading, things like that, which is one of the main reasons we don't recommend it. There's far better products out there like our vinyl and rubber dressing, interior detailer, all kinds of stuff for your interiors. It's also never safe to have something that's slick on interior surfaces that you're touching, like your steering wheel, e-brake handle, that sort of stuff. So that was a pretty excellent joke there, though, Aaron Kittle. We all got a kick out of that one.
Yeah, and I mean, really, if you like the look of olive oil, you can go spend $3 at most auto retail chains and look for the Viking. You're going to get the same effect.
Yeah.
Maybe with some UV protection, but probably equivalent amount of off-gassing and ridiculous looks.
Yeah, at least that's somewhat intended for an auto interior. Olive oil, keep it in the kitchen. Next one that we got, this is a pretty good one. This is really common in today's world, especially with new vehicles. But depending on how you say this one, we'll say that the myth is that all leather seats are actually leather. That is definitely a myth, especially in modern cars. We run into vehicles all the time where you have a vehicle that's marketed with leather seats, and a portion of the seat is leather, but it's also vinyl and other materials. Vinyl impregnated leather is really common, which looks and feels more like vinyl than it does leather in most cases. And what other examples can you think of there?
You hit the two that I was thinking about.
Seat backs,
The
bolsters.
bolsters, are usually real leather, whereas the part that you sit on is vinyl.
Yeah, and all that being said, that doesn't mean that you can't use leather products on a seat that's marketed as leather. Our leather products are safe for vinyl surfaces. Just keep in mind if it doesn't look like they're absorbing, that's likely why. But a lot of modern vehicles, especially all your big name luxury manufacturers, a lot of them have switched over to vinyl surfaces. So Mercedes, for example, they utilize MB Tex, and Lexus has their Lux leather, both of which are advanced, modern vinyls.
I think Tesla has vegan leather, is what they call it, right?
Vegan leather is not, in fact, leather when you think about it. So, a little bit about that, just because it's vinyl doesn't mean it's inferior to leather. A lot of the new, more advanced vinyls are breathable and do have some improved wear characteristics compared to leather. But in my personal preference, I like authentic leather, but there's definitely a place for both. If it's a daily driven vehicle, your kids are hopping in and out, you're probably going to benefit from vinyl. So we'll move on there.
Real quick, I saw Neil, from, what is it, in Portland? Forget the name. But he was mentioning,
City?
Yes, he was mentioning that there's a product missing from the rack, and that is correct. If you guys are able to guess which product is missing, we will send it to you for free, the first one who guesses.
All right, so Neil kicked it off. He noticed that it was gone. Let's see if you can figure out which product it was, Neil. So maybe he'll be the first one to guess that. But go ahead and do your guessing. Submit those as we're going through the miss here, and we'll pick the first to guess it right. You want to read the next one? This is a common one.
This was from Daniel Josh, and the myth was that dish soap will strip any protection or wax that you have on your car and is worse for your clear coat than a wax stripping automotive soap. He wants to hear it from the pros.
So that one, dish soap, of course, is alkaline. Mm-hmm. It is intended for stripping grease and oils and things off of your dishes, and it will diminish any protection that you have on your surface.
A lot of times people will think that Dawn dish soap completely strips the wax, and depending on the wax, if it's an older wax that's already started to degrade and break down, it might. But most of the time with modern waxes especially, they're so technologically advanced that it will diminish the wax, but it may not completely remove it.
Yeah, a lot of times, like Stevie mentioned, which that's exactly what I was going to say, you'll have to do multiple washes with Dawn if you've recently applied something and you're working to get it all the way off. But the big downside of Dawn is, yes, Daniel, it will diminish your finish, not only the protection, but it'll reduce gloss and things like that over time as well. So use a car wash that is designed for automobiles. You won't regret it. There's plenty of options out there. A lot of them may be even less expensive than Dawn. Our Brilliant Finish car wash is an excellent starting point. You can pick it up at any of the local automotive retailers near you. But it's pH balanced, so it's not going to diminish wax or sealant or coating or reduce your gloss or make your finish look bad over time.
I'd say Dawn is definitely not what you want to use every time, but there's definitely a time, if your wax is pretty diminished and you want to make sure that the rest of it is gone before starting another process, sure, every once in a while, but it's definitely not good consistently used.
Yeah, we'll use it in testing at times when we want to beat up a protective product and do some durability vetting. But
so Josh Nunn had asked that question as well. So there is a time and a place, Josh. It's just not great for consistent use. It will degrade your clear coat more rapidly than a pH neutral car specific soap.
The true Adonis making himself known.
And then I think I saw, is it Pinoy Car Guy? Guess black satin first.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Sure
yeah, there he is. Looks like that's the first.
All right, Pinoy Car Guy, you're going to get a T-shirt. So email us at social@griotsgarage.com, and I will tag you in the chat as well.
Money.
Yeah, send us your address and your shirt size. We'll get that ordered for you.
What's up, John? See you in there. And then that is a good question too. John Brickner, one of our contact center associates, asked about using furniture polish as tire dressing, which we got that one in the pre-submits a couple different times, I think. So
We had quite a few household cleaning products asked about as far as using them for tire dressings.
yeah, that was one that I actually hadn't heard of before. So I've seen plenty of household products being used on cars, which is pretty cringeworthy in most scenarios. But Pledge furniture polish was not one of them that I've seen. So that is definitely a myth. I would say, it has some polymers, some ingredients in there that will enhance a furniture's finish, a wood finish on a piece of furniture, but those are not the same surfaces as, rubber you're running into on a tire. So in the same case as oil on a dash, yes, it may look good temporarily, but long term, you're likely going to see some adverse effects because it's not developed for that surface. It's also wheels. It's questionable on wheels.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd say there's probably a pretty high chance that you'll get some sling.
Yeah, definitely some sling. It could cause some other problems. So that's one we would not recommend.
Yeah. And then Sam, do you want to talk about this one? Henry Garza 9237 said, "The more expensive the wax, the better it is."
Yeah, that's another common one. A lot of guys. Shouldn't say a lot of guys. A lot of people fall for just expensive products being better, which in some cases is true. But in this case, I would say it's not necessarily true. You're always going to run into situations where, yes, you get what you pay for. But I definitely have some firsthand experience relative to this one. I'm not going to name any names as far as brands, but there was a very high dollar wax manufacturer that I tested and applied via their application instructions and got
notoriously neutral country.
Yes. They commonly recommend you apply their waxes with your bare hand. I would not advise to follow those recommendations because the results I got were very poor using their very high dollar wax and their application instructions. We actually got much better results using a wax that was about a fifth of the cost and not applying it with a bare hand. So be cautious. There's definitely a lot of truth to you get what you pay for. We do ask a premium for some of our products, and I would stand behind that being 110% worth it compared to some of the less expensive alternatives out there. But I do think there is a line. There are some companies and brands out there that use the dollar amount as a marketing method.
I think with anything, there's a point where you're paying a premium price for a premium product, but then you get to that point where it's just ridiculously expensive for no reason.
Yeah, kind of the law of diminishing returns, if you will.
Yeah.
You're going to eventually get where
You're
paying more, not necessarily
than the benefit that you
more.
reap from the product.
And testing products is always a good way to determine that. You don't need to buy the most expensive thing on the shelf just to get a really good result. A lot of it is going to be in the process and the techniques that you use, not necessarily in the product. But that's a big one.
Joe Edgar asks, "Is it true you can use Speed Shine as a slip and slide lubricant?" Please don't use our products as it relates to any of your orifices in your body or lubricating your body. I don't want to answer that phone call, and I will not send you a check either.
We will not be liable to any injuries to your kids or yourself.
Yeah, we don't take liability, but if you do try it, send us a video.
Yeah.
Make sure to put a hold harmless claim at the beginning of that video.
I'll be honest, I have joked around with my wife more than once about taking some spray wax or Speed Shine to the playgrounds and greasing up the slides. But I haven't done it. At least not to any public playgrounds, maybe.
My dad, when we were younger, actually would put engine bay dressing on the bottom of our sleds on snow days.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
pretty legit.
Yeah, wax up those sleds. Yeah, I mean, definitely lots of uses for our products, but be cautious when you're involving your children. Test it yourself first. But yeah, like Nick said, maybe not on or in yourself. Those are always fun questions to answer. All right.
Oh gosh.
Let's see. We got a couple of these two different methods of pressure, but we got a few questions relative to pressure damaging a paint finish, whether it be from an air compressor or a pressure washer. So we'll kind of address those one and the same. Do you want to read them?
Yeah, Aiden Rich 24 said, my dad claims that you can't use an air compressor to blow the water off a car because the pressure can scratch the paint. Is that true? And then CBH76 said, this is more of a myth I've made for myself, but the use of pressure washers and if it's harmful to paint and or trim. I've always thought that too much pressure can't be a good thing, but have seen many detailing videos of people hitting their paint from a few inches out with really high pressure water. I'd like to know your thoughts on if it's safe or not, especially on older vehicles that might have a stone chip or two that could get that water under the surrounding paint and lift it.
So both very valid concerns. Both, for the most part, are myths, though. So we promote the use of pressure washers in a lot of scenarios. Sorry about that, guys. Nick was peeking around on us. We promote the use of pressure washers in a lot of scenarios because they're going to allow you to get as much abrasives off of the paint before you ever come in contact with your wash mitts and things like that, actually making it safer. And rock chips, as long as you're not using more aggressive than I would say a 15-degree tip on your pressure washer, you don't really have to be concerned about rock chips. Peeling paint can be a concern, however. I know, peeling paint, peeling graphics, peeling paint protection film, anything that's already compromised, and you apply, heavy pressure, whether it be from a air compressor or a pressure washer, directly to that in a focused area, you may see further peeling or damage. So definitely stay away from that. I have had a car that had some old vinyl graphics applied that I pressure washed from a pretty good distance and still was able to lift some of those graphics. So that's one scenario where you want to avoid. But in terms of healthy paint that doesn't have pre-existing damage, even normal light rock chips, you're going to be totally safe.
Yeah, unless you've got like a super high PSI industrial, pressure washer and you're getting super close with a direct tip or something like that, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, no 5,000 PSI or the 0-degree tips or turbo nozzles or anything like that around your car. But other than that, you're good to go. And air compressors, again, more than safe. Same kind of sensitive areas. If something's peeling or lifting already, keep it away from there. But typically you're not going to have any problems. Air compressors are a great way to get water out of all those tough to dry spots that tend to drip and be extremely obnoxious hours after you've washed the car.
Yeah, but usually we recommend using a drying towel on most of the surface just because using strictly air to dry a vehicle can be a little more time consuming depending on the tool that you're using.
Yeah, although our 8 horsepower air blower does do it in pretty quick order if you want to get it done fast. We keep going through myths. Are we getting any new ones coming into comments?
Oh, plenty of banter.
Awesome.
I gave away another T-shirt, and apparently there's some debate whether he's going to claim it or not.
Uh-oh.
You guys, again, you can make any of us laugh, and you're probably going to get something from us. But like I said, we can take on any myth you want. Not going full Mythbusters, but anything car care related is awesome. But
I think I'd say car care or automotive, right? I mean, we can take a stab at those.
yeah, or
too.
mythical creatures or whatever. Ray Sayre, interesting spelling, from the chat asked, toothpaste on to clean hazed headlights.
Oh, that was a really common one that we saw in pre-submits too, so that's a good one to address. You want to tackle that one?
Yeah, I saw a toothpaste, and then I think we have one in here actually that we were going to address that talked about WD-40 on headlights.
Bug spray on headlights, I think was that one.
We did have bug off
too.
Yeah, WD-40.
A few different headlight related myths.
I mean, it works, but there are definitely more practical, I guess depending on the severity of your headlights, it could work.
Yeah.
But there are definitely more practical options out there, especially...
Speaking to toothpaste, not bug spray, by the way.
Yeah, to toothpaste.
There is abrasive in toothpaste,
Yep.
so by some way or form, if you rub it enough, you'll probably cut off a top dead layer of paint. But
Yeah.
And I'd hate to actually smell that while I was doing that.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like Stevie mentioned, there's better products. Like, yes, it may work in a pinch, but there's better stuff out there that's going to be more effective, faster, and safer for that specific surface. But like Nick said, toothpaste does have abrasive in it. A tip that I was told really early on in my career here was to use toothpaste to figure out if a metal surface is bare metal, if you don't have a metal polish on hand, because everybody has toothpaste. If you get the black residue rubbing toothpaste on metal, it's bare metal. But headlights, like we said, in a pinch, it might work, but I'd seek out a more effective product for sure. And a couple of products that we have are plastic polish, of course. That's a pretty mild one. It also works on soft plastics. And our Boss creams are also exceptional on hard plastics. Yeah, One Step's another good one for sure. That is a good question, though. Do we want to talk about the other headlight ones while we're on it?
Well,
bug spray.
They're further in, so we'll just throw them in with the similar questions.
We'll get back to our order.
But let's go back to John Blake had a pre-sub myth. He said that you can't wash your car in direct sunlight. It's not to say that you can't, but we recommend not doing it because if you're in direct sunlight, the heat is going to cause the product to dry quicker, and then you're going to end up either, chasing it, resaturating the surface frequently to make sure that the product doesn't dry, or there's somewhere else I was going with that.
It's just going to make your life harder. I mean, really, and increase the likelihood of issues with the products you're using. I think we've all done it in a pinch when we don't have a choice. Or if you live in an area or you're a mobile detailer and you don't always have the luxury of washing in the shade. But yeah, you're going to be up against water spots. You're going to be up against streaks, products drying faster. I wouldn't say you're necessarily going to damage anything, but you could potentially cause more work for you to do following the wash and removing spots and streaks and things like that. And you're just not going to get quite as user-friendly performance out of the products you're using. Couple tips that can help you if you do have to wash in direct sun. Working in smaller sections, so like if I am washing a car in the sun, I'll do half at a time. So soap and rinse half at a time. What else can you think of? Water deionizers to help prevent water spots.
Remove the minerals from the water.
Work quickly. Have a friend or significant other help you out to be faster throughout it. Keeping surfaces wet can help prevent spots as well.
Did you say early and late in the day?
No, but that is another really good one. Yeah, if you don't have shade, try and find a time of day where the surface of the vehicle may not be hot. That's another one too, is like if you have the chance to get the car out of direct sun and let it cool down, and then you can always pull it back into the sun, wash it quickly. But a paint surface, even if the ambient temperature's 70 degrees and doesn't feel that hot, if a car is in direct sun, the paint surface will get up to 120 plus pretty quickly, believe it or not. So just keep that in mind. If it doesn't feel that hot out, but the car is still in direct sun, you could still run into some issues there. And then the next one, good for the sport asked, are car washes really that hard on paint?
And assuming he's talking about drive-through car washes, yes, they are. Not only you don't know which vehicle went through it before you, and the microfiber spinners could have picked up dirt and grit from a filthy work truck or whatever it be, but also those microfiber spinners, no matter how soft they say that they are, they're beating up against the paint and causing swirls. Yep. You may not see it right away, especially I know that some of the drive-through car washes locally use like a spray wax or sealant type deal that helps hide those. So when it first pulls out, you look at your car and you're like, hey, it looks great. But once that wears off, you see all the swirls that have been imparted onto the surface.
For sure. And busy days are usually the worst days to get a car wash at a tunnel wash, because you've got everybody else going through there and they're not cleaning the brushes and whatnot, and they're getting all full of
recirculated water. If you live in a water restricted area, they'll usually allow a commercial car wash to operate, but it's due to them having to recycle their water. Yeah. So you're getting some crap pelted at you for sure.
Yeah. Just be cautious. Touchless washes can be better in terms of not scratching the vehicle, but they often use stronger chemicals. Sometimes they're acidic chemicals that may degrade protection that you have down or harm your finish over a long-term period. So be cautious whether you're doing touchless or tunnel wash, but ideally pick up some of our products and do it at home if you can. If you don't have a driveway or a easy area to wash your car with a hose and bucket outside, we've got awesome rinseless and waterless products that can get you amazing results, whether or not you live in an apartment or a condo or a house or a dorm or whatever it is. So,
and it's worth it.
Yeah, definitely worth it, especially if you have a dark colored vehicle.
Hey guys, I got a quick just car care question.
Yeah.
What is the best way to remove 3-in-1 ceramic? I need to do a little paint repair on my truck. He says he can't even tape it off. That comes from Todd B via the chat.
3-in-1 ceramic can be tough to remove. It is a very durable product. I would say, some of the best ways that we found to remove it quickly, our foaming surface prep does a pretty nice job at knocking it down and then doing some decontamination over the top. You can use like our foaming surface wash or brilliant finish car wash as the lubricant for that decontamination so that you're not putting any silicone residue back on the surface with a quick detailer. But hit it with foaming surface prep 10-to-1, diluted in the dilution bottle. That'll break it down nicely, and then you can do some decontamination over the top to get that last bit off. You may, depending on how recently you've applied the product and how good your application was, what was on the surface prior, you may need to do a couple treatments of that process to get it completely off. Another way would be, a quick polish. You don't need a lot. You don't need to go aggressive, but like our correcting or perfecting cream on a mild pad, a couple passes over the panel will remove it. So that's another way if you're planning or needing to do that as it is.
Yeah, that's probably what I would prefer, is doing just a few quick passes with correcting cream and then maybe use foaming surface prep to strip the polishing oils before you reapply.
Yeah, we are working on a formula that will pair with that to help prep surfaces for application of ceramic 3-in-1 as well. Keep an eye out for that one. Let's see, what else we got? Griot's leather care will prevent baby puke from staining seats. Ooh, not sure I'm gonna make that claim. Baby puke can be especially nasty, but yeah. That's a good comment from our fellow product developer, Jeff Brown. Commercial car washes employ acids and alkalines to chemically abrade the surface to remove contaminants. So corrosive either way you go. So definitely keep that in mind too, especially if you're working hard to put protection down on your finish. You don't want to waste all that time and energy going through a tunnel or touchless wash afterwards. So save your efforts. Do it at home. Especially now, you don't want to be going out anyways. And it's a great way to spend time with your family. That was another kind of joke of a myth that I think the myth was that using your kids' free car wash coupon from Father's Day is not a fun way.
Like a good bonding experience, I think is what he said, which, I mean, depending on your patience, it can or cannot be.
Well, I'm hoping that he is implying that it is a good bonding experience, but I will say, a little bit of it depends on what cars you're washing. I love washing my Land Cruiser with my son because there's not a whole lot of damage he can do to that thing. But if it were a garage queen, I'd probably want him washing the daily or something like that. So pick a car that you don't have to be like super micromanaging your child the whole time while they're helping you. But it's a really fun way to spend time, especially right now with everything else going on. Kind of tune it all out and wash your cars and have a water fight while you're at it. All right, what do we have next?
JTurtle135 said, oh, here's a good one. Just because the car is shiny doesn't mean it's clean. Got any cars that look clean that would wreck a bar of clay? We don't have a car here, but that's an absolutely great point. Just because a car is shiny doesn't mean it's clean. And that's especially true on new vehicles, especially new from a dealership. You don't know how they got to the dealership, whether it be boat, train, semi down the freeway. A lot of times they'll still have contamination that you'll want to remove, even though they might look shiny.
Yeah, just because it's shiny does not mean that it's clean. Joe Edgar submitted that one as well. And that was another one that our developer Jeff Brown wanted us to cover. So yeah, just because it's clean does not mean Just because it's shiny does not mean that it's clean. And also, kind of to add on to that, you get a common one related to that, oh, my car's new, it doesn't need to be detailed, or my car's new, it doesn't have any scratches. That one is definitely a myth. If many of you guys have spent time on new or used car lots, most of those cars are not perfect. So, I can think of one story that stands out. A friend of mine owns a detail shop. They got a car in. It was a brand new 458 Italia, Ferrari, of course, and the owner had just taken delivery of it, and it had noticeable sand scratches on the car from a repair that was done. Essentially, during the delivery, it was damaged, and the dealer sent it to a body shop, and they didn't do a very good job. It was all swirled up, had deep gouged sand scratches in it, and my friend who owned the detail shop that got it, I had to charge the guy upwards of $3,000, which he then, of course, had the dealership pay for, luckily. But just because it's new, even if it's a very high dollar car, does not mean that it doesn't need a good detail. So come to us for those and we'll help you out, but don't make those assumptions. What else? What do you want to do next?
Sorry, I was busy laughing at Nick saying that when he wraps his son in microfiber, he's a wash tool.
There may be plans for a video joking around about that one of these days.
A couple other early submitted ones in the chat. Using a drying aid ruins your drying towel.
Oh, that's a good one. I would say for the most part that's a myth. However, if you don't wash your drying towel, that can be true. Do you want to speak to that one more?
I would say especially if you're using ceramic as a drying aid, you'll definitely want to make sure that you launder your towel after that. Otherwise, I mean, it's not that it ruins the towel, but you definitely will want to make sure that you're removing product and not allowing it to dry and build up in the towel.
Yeah, if you're using a drying aid, don't just hang up your towel and let it dry afterwards. Definitely throw it in the wash, and that should prevent any reduced performance of your dry towel. Specifically, if you're using a good microfiber cleaner in there with it. Laundry detergents won't always remove spray waxes and other drying aids from a microfiber towel. So, let's see.
Camaro Time says, in all seriousness, it is a myth if you wax your car and slide, or that it's bad to slide the bottle across the hood. Yes, that is one of the biggest myths ever, that sliding a bottle of anything across your hood is a good demonstration of it. That just means I do not know what I'm looking at, and I'm willing to scratch my hood to sell you snake oil.
Yeah. Don't try that one at home because you won't be happy with what you see after the bottle slides down your hood.
Yeah, well, those videos are usually the same videos where there's a dirty surface and they're demonstrating the product wiping straight down and then going back to the top of the surface, taking that dirt that they just wiped from their rocker panel up to the top of the vehicle. I just cringe when I see those.
Buyer beware. The internet is rampant with fakeness on car care.
Hey, if you are watching this for the first time and you don't subscribe to our channel, we would appreciate a subscribe, a thumbs up, and hit the notification bell. We love doing these lives for you guys, but the more you guys show us support in the form of subscriptions and tuning in, the more we can bring more to you.
Absolutely, yeah. Get down there, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment too. The more interaction we get, the better we do in the algorithm. So.
Okay. All right. We've got another T-shirt to give away. Joshua Nunn just said in the chat, want to save 15% on car insurance? Just leave the scene of the accident.
Nice. Hopefully you're not speaking from experience.
I know. Don't actually do that, but that was funny. And email us, Joshua Nunn, social@griotsgarage.com. We're going to give you a T-shirt for that one. You've earned it.
Yes. Solid sense of humor there. Oh, man, yeah. Might be tempting at times, but don't do that. All right. Back to business here.
Yeah, let's get to the next pre-submitted. This one is from Ken Nowakowski. Will WD-40 remove tree sap and bugs from your paint? Also, will it remove your wax or sealant or ceramic coating? And then to go along with that, Jeremy Jones had asked, WD-40 is the fastest and easiest way to restore headlights.
WD-40 and duct tape, baby. What can't you fix?
I saw so many
serious.
submissions about WD-40, literally for anything you could think of.
Yeah.
WD-40 to remove scratches.
Yeah, WD-40 will not remove scratches from interior surfaces. That one is definitely a myth. I would say these are all myths for the most part. Again, you may be able to get somewhere with WD-40 removing tree sap and bugs. However, it's not going to be the most effective or the safest product out there to do it. It may not remove wax or ceramic coating, but it's definitely going to diminish protection because there are some solvents in there. So be cautious with these things. Don't just go crazy with WD-40 on all of the recommended solutions that it provides out there. It is a great product. I'm not gonna discount that. I've used it for all kinds of things, but normally I'm using it for lubrication as it is intended to be used for. So careful with those off-label uses for WD-40. And to restore headlights, no. Fastest way, sure, maybe, but it's essentially like wiping silicone over an oxidized or faded headlight. You're going to get a very instant but very temporary result. It may look clear for a short amount of time, but it is not going to be a long-term finish. So, what car does Yoda drive? Toyota. May have heard.
Yeah, we're getting some jokes. I like it. I mean, these are coming from everywhere.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yes, thank you, True Donis.
LJM2 Step Spain. We've made a believer out of him with Citrus Multi-Surface Cleaner.
Yes, absolutely. That stuff's awesome. I mean, multitude of uses. I think we're actually in the process of testing that for removing tire dressings from your driveway.
I'm pretty sure a guy who's in here, Shane Mulhern, asked that question on Everyday Driver last year and used it to remove like an entire melted pack of crayons in his car. Like,
Nice.
I have not found something I can't use that on.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff. When we moved, I think I went through like 2 cans of that in our old house. And just kid messes. Mm-hmm. Crayons and markers on walls. It is phenomenal on that. Oh man, yeah, it's a great product. It's definitely a multitude of uses for that one.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay, we got WD-40 is good for arthritis. The only essential oil I need.
I like that one.
That one's pretty good.
Essential oils are everywhere. They'll fix all your ailments, guys. Come on. Essential oils will fix all your ailments, just like WD-40 is the only product you need to fix all your automotive problems. Oh, man. Where does the dojo get their furniture? IKEA? What card? I don't know.
I don't know about that one.
I don't know about that one either. Best bug remover, hands down. Brillo pads. Man, I have a story for that one. We had when I was working in the store, we had a customer bring in a blue 350Z. He claims his girlfriend did it, but I always got to question those claims. Anytime that's the start of the conversation, my wife did it or my girlfriend did it. Yeah, I don't know about that. But anyways, he claimed his girlfriend washed his car for him. He had tree sap and bug guts all over it. She used a Brillo pad while the car was wet, got everything off, and then dried the car and saw all of the lovely, matte, scratchy polka dots, essentially, that she left. I mean, this thing was covered. It probably had like 30 to 50 circular, faded polka dots all over from scrubbing it. Luckily, we were able to bring those back with some paint correction, but Brillo pads on bugs or anything else on paint is definitely not advised, unless your goal is to remove the paint as well. That's,
Yeah, I don't even know if I'd even use it on a DeLorean, but
yeah.
I had another guy in Pittsburgh at a BMW show, brand new 7 Series, like nearly $100,000 car, took a Brillo pad to sap, just annihilated the paint. It looked like a Dalmatian with all the spots on this
that
white
was
car.
exactly how this one
Just
looked.
like dull spot, bright spot, dull spot, just horrific damage.
Yeah, that's a quick way to ruin your day for sure. Don't use Brillo pads on your paint. Like Nick said, even on non-painted surfaces, test in an inconspicuous area first. All right. Water squeegees, Camaro Time NC. Water squeegees will not harm paint when used for drying after washing. This is a tough one because I wouldn't say it's a complete myth, but there is some truth to the fact that they can harm paint if not used correctly. So water squeegees definitely have their place. I've used them before with good results, but you want to be cautious with them because if there's any dirt on the surface or you're doing it outside and a pine needle blows onto the vehicle and you catch that under your water blade, or you use too much pressure with your water blade, or you have very soft paint, you could be scratching the surface. So if you are using a water blade, make sure it is a surgical grade silicone blade. Those tend to be softer and more gentle on your paint, and then don't use pressure with it. All you need is just very light, get the bulk of the water off and then come in with your towel to clean up the rest. So
It's also a good idea to check the blade and ensure that you're not getting any dirt or grit on it. If so, it might be a good idea to rewash the surface instead of continuing.
very good tip. Yeah, and then wiping your blade periodically is never a bad idea.
Yeah, I always
either.
dunk it in the wash bucket, kind of rinse it just about halfway through. But I primarily like them for windows. I don't want to waste my good towels on windows, so I just use the blade on that. But
And you can get all the water off quick before any spots start forming on your glass. Good way to do it. Excuse me there.
Yeah. So our next pre-sub myth was from Jules Devon. Consumer grade or consumer accessible detailing products are watered down to avoid liability.
That is, well, I can speak for our products because we make them and we're very involved in that process. For the most part, that is a myth. I can't speak for other brands out there potentially watering down consumer grade products, but we do not do any changes to the formulas that we sell through the retail stores. It's the exact same stuff that you'll buy directly from us. And I would be confident in saying a lot of those products will provide you very professional grade results without a lot of time or effort. So again, I can't speak to other brands and manufacturers, but generally I don't think anybody's really watering down what they're putting in a retail store.
I think you get what you pay for. If you're paying $3, you can bet that it's a heavy silicone or acrylic base, and those are inexpensive materials.
Yeah.
And those are meant to replicate the performance of a natural product such as Carnauba that will cost 10 times that much just to at that same load in a product. I also want to clarify that there are professional companies that sell concentrate for professional shops to set up a dilution channel. So in that sense, you wouldn't be buying concentrates of most products at a retail shelf. You're buying ready-to-use iterations. So but there are product lines that have multiple price points, and you can presume it's probably not more water. It's probably just a lower quality ingredient meant to replicate the effect of a higher quality one.
Yep, that's a great point for sure. You get what you pay for. Water is cheap, so some folks may do that, but we do not. Ooh, I just saw a recommendation for Mr. Clean pads or magic erasers, I'm assuming is what's being referred to there. In substitute for like a Brillo type pad, magic erasers are far more abrasive than you might think. They feel soft, but if you look closely at a dark paint surface after using a magic eraser on it, it is virtually like you hit it with 5,000 grit sandpaper. So do be cautious with magic erasers on paint or interior surfaces. I would say if the eraser is wet and the surface is wet, you may be able to get good results without doing too much damage. But if it's dry, you're going to want to check it with a light and likely break out your orbital afterwards, because those things will put some gnarly swirls in paint.
And again, if you're going to try that, we recommend testing it in a small and conspicuous area. That way you're not working on the top of the door, realize that you've added swirls, and then you're working in the most obvious and easy to see spot.
Yeah, they are very, very much abrasive. I was pretty shocked when we first tested it because they feel so soft, but you wipe those over a glossy black paint surface and you will see some scratches.
Also, Steve Kukoda, been a customer since 1997. Steve, thank you for your business. We really appreciate that. We want customers for life, so hopefully you've never been disappointed by us.
Yeah, and Matthew Dvorsky, hopefully I didn't butcher that. How's it going? You guys are awesome. The Griot's Garage community Facebook group. Definitely a lot of good conversations going on in there, and we appreciate your business and your knowledge. It's really cool to see you guys helping each other out in there and giving each other advice. And yeah, it's awesome stuff. So we'll definitely be in there to contribute as we can, and keep it up, guys. Really cool to see.
That's exactly what I was going to say. A lot of you guys that are in there I recognize from the YouTube live, and a lot of you guys are giving the exact advice that I would give by the time that I see the question posted. So you guys are phenomenal.
Smart customers. Oh man, this next question. I think we're going to have to opt to Nick for this one.
A75 Fire asked, who works harder, Stevie or Sam? I'd like to say that I work harder than Sam.
I don't know. Who trained you?
No comment.
Bit of a loaded question, I suppose.
If you want to ask who's in charge, you guys can make your assumptions there. But who works harder? I'm very lucky to have Sam and Stevie to work with every day for sure. But they impress me more often than they disappoint me. So I guess that's about as good as
Good to
you can
hear.
do, right?
Good to hear. We've got a great team.
Some of us impress you far more often than others, though, right?
We'll still instigate a hard work competition. Funny question, though, man. Funny question. A75 Fire. We appreciate humor just as much as the next guy, especially during these lovely times. This was a common one, too.
Yeah.
The next one.
Yeah.
Which I had never heard of this one before.
I hadn't either, but I looked into it, and it is actually a very popular myth, I guess, or hack.
Method.
So MBLG Junior, I'm assuming that is, it's peanut butter on faded plastic trim. And I guess I see where it's going with the oils that are in the peanut butter, but it just seems like it's more of a mess than anything else. And if you get peanut butter in the little crack underneath your trim between the trim and the paint, you're gonna have to fish that out.
Don't use it on Stevie's car. She might kill you. She hates peanut butter.
I absolutely do, actually, that's true.
If you have a chocolate lab, you can put peanut butter on anything.
Yeah, they'll take care of it real quick. Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably the biggest adverse effect of doing that is you're gonna. Sorry, that was probably really loud. Yeah. Peanut Gallery coming in with great comments. But anyways, that's what I was gonna say is the biggest adverse effect of that is you're probably gonna have a heck of a time cleaning up all of the peanut butter that you don't want left on your trim after you've enhanced it with the oils in the peanut butter. And yeah, if you have a chocolate lab, just bring him on out and have him lick the car down. But yeah, I'm not sure I would call that one a hack because it's probably going to be harder on you than most trim products are out there to use. So again, one that may work, but we're going to recommend products that are intended specifically for that surface. It's definitely going to give you a much more durable result. I can't imagine the oils from peanut butter are going to last very long, keeping your trim dark and lustrous.
Yeah.
If you
and
will.
Smell a lot better.
Yeah. And I always annoy Stevie. I get smoothies every once in a while for lunch with peanut butter in them, and she usually has to leave the room. But if I'm getting tired over that day, it's extra effective method.
I'll be like, can you stop breathing in my general direction?
Okay, I've got a couple pre-submit or chat questions. Is using an iron removing wheel cleaner bad if used in every wash? That comes from Toxic Skills.
Where is that one? Iron removing wheel cleaner. Oh, Toxic Skills was his name. Okay. For wheels, I would say not at all. I mean, I'm not sure if all like iron and fallout remover type cleaners out there are pH balanced, but our iron and fallout remover is, and it is going to be safe to use at every wash for cleaning up your wheels. So that's a good one to go ahead and go for. Not going to run into any issues. Just make sure that it's pH balanced. That would be my main recommendation there. If you're using an acidic or highly alkaline cleaner over and over and over on wheels, especially if they're bare metal or painted, you're likely going to see some fading and degradation there over time. But yeah, that's a good one.
All right, and one other one. Chad Chenoweth, this should be a quick answer. What is your opinion on using ice as a substitute for a clay bar? I have never heard that one.
I've never heard that either.
Ice will definitely scratch your paint.
Yeah.
I would stay far away from that one. It's also likely not going to be very effective at knocking out any above surface contaminant.
Well, yeah, part of the nature of our decontamination tools, our paint in general, is that they're tacky so that they pull things away from the surface being embedded. The ice,
Yeah.
I have no idea how that would accomplish that.
Yeah, I would definitely stay away from that one for sure. Nightfall Gray RS, but then you have chocolate on your peanut butter. Who doesn't like peanut butter and chocolate? Come on. Reese's. I think even Stevie likes those.
And one more. Liam Flynn asks, can I use ceramic 3-in-1 to keep my toilet clean longer?
I assume you could, but you might slide off of it.
Yeah, probably not on the seat, but yeah, sure. You want to empty out your bowl and coat it with some ceramic?
I bet you it'd work really well.
Yeah, I mean,
Jeff was putting it in his sinks and stuff. And
I've done it in my kitchen sink, and it worked very nicely. Had a fire clay farmhouse sink at the old house. Put that on it when it was new, and it kept the spots down. But yeah, I mean, depending on your diet, you may benefit from that. Keeping things from sticking. Sorry, guys.
we are off in the weeds.
Or if you have young boy children, yeah, they don't always have the best aim, so you'll prevent those spots from forming. Other areas around the toilet.
I've also had a couple questions about using alcohol, isopropyl, I presume, in the interior as a disinfectant.
Yeah, stay away from alcohol on the interior, guys. That is has a high potential to damage vinyls and plastic surfaces. So be very cautious if you are going to do that. But I would recommend against it altogether for the most part. Alcohol either has to be at a very high content or allowed to dwell for an extended period of time on a surface to fully disinfect it. So in those situations, you're going to be exposing yourself to potential damage there. So I would definitely stay away from alcohol on interiors. Hard surfaces, it's going to be all right on in glass, but anything other than that, I would avoid it altogether.
To go along with that, Dick Ray just asked, can I use rubbing alcohol or any other alcohol to dilute soda on my console buttons?
Again, I would stay away from it. I would just go for warm water
Interior
first,
cleaner,
yeah,
too.
or interior cleaner. Interior detailer is a good one as well.
Especially if you have those like soft touch
Yeah,
interiors and they're older. You put alcohol on them, they like pretty much start to melt.
it'll eat it away. Yeah.
Even if it's diluted
Yep.
from like a store-bought 70 or 90%. The great on like tables and countertops and stuff, but just keep that away and maybe even for glass cleaning, not for interior surfaces. I definitely would not suggest that.
Absolutely. Invasion HD, that is a myth. The G9 polisher does not vibrate a lot.
Can we address that because he's in the YouTube space and he's most likely watched the one
Yeah.
clickbait video where the guy says, does it vibrate too
Yeah.
much? And the reality is that the pad that particular person was using was a monstrosity.
It also wasn't centered,
Yeah.
which is pretty visible in that video. Both of those variables are going to impact vibration a lot. Orbitals as a whole inherently will vibrate some because of the orbit. So you are going to experience some of that no matter how expensive or high quality of a tool you buy. But I would confidently put our G9 up next to any other tool on the market, any other 8 to 9 mil throw orbital, and confidently say it does not vibrate any more aggressively than the other players out there. Like Nick mentioned, the pad is going to have a large impact on vibration. A counterbalance essentially has a range of weights that it can effectively handle while running smoothly. There's a bell curve there where once you get too low of weight or too high of weight, and the further you get outside of that range, the more vibration you're going to experience. That being said, we can't put as wide of a range as we want on a counterweight. So, we have to dial it in for our pads and the methods and processes that we recommend and we use. So, if you're loading up your pad with tons of product and you're using a thick, heavy pad, you may experience some additional vibration there. If you're using, a 1-inch profile pad or even a lower profile pad like our Boss pads, and you're cleaning your pad and you're, buttering it properly, not over applying product, you're not going to have any issues at all. Vibration is also relative. Some people are going to be more sensitive to it than others, just like a lot of other things in this world, especially today. Some people are a lot more sensitive than others, so keep that in mind. I would definitely urge you to try it out yourself. If you're thinking about buying one, we have the best warranty in the business and 180-day satisfaction guarantee. If you feel like it vibrates too much, we will gladly take it back from you, but I don't think you're going to feel that way. So try it out. They are awesome tools, and got to take everything on the internet with a grain of salt these days. So.
Yeah, again, it always seems to be the guys who give free stuff that then take advantage of you to generate more buzz for their channel. What do you know, guys?
Absolutely.
It's the world we live in. But hey, like Sam said, that G9 has been a wonderful seller for us. The amount of people that have called us to say it vibrates too much is pretty much zero.
Yeah, well, that's another good point. The folks that have given us awesome feedback on it are much, much higher than the amount of vibration complaints we've had. So that you can, take that however you want, but I think that's usually how I like to determine whether something is true or false. We all read reviews. There's always going to be bad ones. You can't please everybody. So.
Yeah, Keith Firebird, it was not Papa Smurf. Papa Smurf had actually a cord failure on one of his early G9s. That was his problem. There's another individual. We don't want to bus drive anybody, but it really is just if you're seeking to to build a YouTube channel, it's a great way to use our name to build an audience with a clickbait title. And guess what? People are drawn to it as they are trying to decide whether or not to buy the G9. And
yep.
But yeah, it has not affected us in any way, really. So I think we can move on from that one.
Joshua Nunn coming through again with a pretty funny one.
Drew Adonis, Richard is on vacation. Thank goodness. We can get some stuff done around here.
Yeah, anytime he's out, we're always a little more productive. So.
We miss him. But he deserves a vacation.
Yes, he does.
There's a whole lot going on in the world, and keeping a business operating is quite stressful.
Richard's a very busy guy, believe it or not. He is usually here and getting his hands dirty. So yeah, you guys, I forget the name of who asked the G9 vibration question, but we're getting lots of customer support coming in. So I like to think all you guys are honest and not just Griot's groupies. So
Liam Flynn, if your locking button broke on the G9, you should give us a call. We will replace that. Any component of our tool that does not meet your standards or fails prematurely, that part in particular has a spring. If the spring gets a little happy and pops out, guess what? You can't use it, and we will replace that. We will fix the tool or give you a new one. So give us a call, customer service. We will honor that as a warranty replacement.
All right. Back to some myths here. Yeah.
What about the ceramic coating one?
Oh, yeah, we had a couple good ceramic coating myths. So to start, one that is really common and popular is that ceramic means if you have a ceramic coating applied to your car, that means you don't need to maintain it any longer. It'll keep itself clean. That is 100% a myth.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. We'd
There's
be out
no
of
magic
business
fix.
if that was the case. So it will help keep your car cleaner longer, but you are still going to need to maintain it. I would say in some cases you need to maintain it even more if you want to to keep high performance out of your ceramic coating. So
Another thing is that there's this big misconception that if you have a ceramic coating on your vehicle, you cannot scratch it no matter what you do. And that's such a big misunderstanding and definitely a myth.
yeah,
Especially, I saw a detailer that works with us posted a photo of a truck that someone had taken off-roading with a ceramic coating on, thinking that it wouldn't scratch the sides, and it scratched it to heck and back.
yeah. So ceramic coatings will help avoid or help avoid as deep of scratches. You know, they do have some resistance to very fine scratches, like a swirl mark, say, from an aggressive microfiber or cotton towel or something like that. But they are not going to prevent your vehicle from being scratched.
It's not invincible.
Yeah, you can easily scratch through a ceramic coating into the paint without a whole lot of effort, like that situation that you just mentioned. Customer of a local detail shop of ours got a ceramic coating applied, took his truck out hunting or off-roading or something, and came back all pissed off when he had brush scratches all up and down the sides of his truck. Well, you know, it's essentially a sacrificial layer. Some of those scratches were likely in the coating and some of them were likely through the coating. So don't make that assumption. Another one to piggyback onto that is that ceramic coatings will prevent rock chips. That is not true, even less true than them preventing scratches, I would say. The only thing that's going to help prevent rock chips is either not driving the car or having a paint protection film or a clear bra applied. Those are flexible, so they will prevent chips much better than a hard ceramic coating will. The only type of chip that a ceramic coating might help prevent against would be like
A Doritos chip.
that was pretty good. I like that. Yeah, and maybe like a very light like sand being blown at the car or something like that. But even then, you're probably going to see some damage in the coating. So ceramic coatings are, you know, a great way to protect your vehicle, but they are not a fix-all. They do not make your paint invincible. So yeah, those are all really good ones. I think we've got a couple more on ceramics that I saved here as well. So yeah,
I think there is some resilience, like you said, and it's generally like micro abrasions, like from towel marks and stuff. But even so, like you said, it's essentially a sacrificial layer, and it can wear and accumulate those things. And in fact, water spotting is a really bad problem.
For sure.
And now there's the whole graphene craze that they're saying it doesn't water spot. That is indeed a myth.
yeah. I mean, anytime where a water bead is sitting on the paint and drying, you run the risk of getting a spot. Certain protections will protect against them more than others, but like Nick said, it's not going to prevent them altogether. I know early on in coating technology, a lot of coating manufacturers were actually putting out multiple formulas or changing their formulas to address the water spot problem. A lot of the high dollar coatings, you'd have it applied, you'd go drive around in the rain or wash your car, or sprinklers would hit the car, and you'd have even more noticeable spots than what you would see on just bare clear coat. So there are situations where they may make certain spotting or certain types of defects look worse. This is a funny one, and this applies to not only ceramic coatings, but this has been used as a kind of a gimmicky demo for waxes and sealants as well. But that a ceramic coating or a wax or sealant makes a car fireproof. Oh. This is kind of an older one, but I have seen it come back with some coating demos. But this is basically the one where the demo guy throws lighter fluid on the surface that's been coated or protected, lights it on fire, and then the fire goes out after 20 to 30 seconds, and there's a bunch of black soot on the surface, and he comes in with a towel and easily wipes it off. You can do that on bare paint too, guys. Lighter fluid doesn't really get the surface hot enough to truly damage it. So you can pretty much do that on bare paint. I wouldn't recommend trying it at home because playing with fire is never a good idea, but it is entirely a snaky, gimmicky method of selling you a product. So
I guess that'd be like saying like a certain type of alcohol prevents a glass cup from catching on fire, because when I light it, it burns for a little bit and then it stops.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of deal. The alcohol burns off and then
entirely BS. Reminds me a lot of sliding the wax bottle down the hood or whatever. It's like, okay, come on, guys. So yeah, don't fall for that one. Another one, a myth about ceramics is that they are self-healing. So no, there is not currently any ceramic tech that is self-healing. There are paint protection films that are self-healing. Expel makes a phenomenal product that is pretty impressive when it comes to self-healing and what will come out of it. But as far as ceramic coatings go, there are no self-healing coatings out there yet. So don't make that assumption.
We're working on it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's another one, man. Put us out of business. Big one too. This one, is I would say mostly true, but you'll never need to use a wax after applying a ceramic coating. So a ceramic coating is an alternative to a wax or sealant. That being said, what would you say to that?
I wouldn't say that there's never going to be a need to apply a wax or that it, completely mitigates the use of a wax. It definitely, as he said, is a replacement for a protectant, but you can still use protectants on top of it. Whether that's going to be beneficial is going to depend on your situation and the type of coating that you have. But I wouldn't say that a ceramic coating is a replacement for a wax.
Well, most coating manufacturers nowadays actually recommend that you're applying one of their coating maintenance products once to twice a year. So that would essentially be a lot like putting a wax over the coating. Most of those products are infused with the same actives that are in the coating so that they will bond to it and add some substantial protection. But saying that just because you have a coating down doesn't mean you don't need to apply protection afterwards, that part is false. You don't necessarily have to, but you're going to shorten the life of the coating if you don't upkeep it with something. A lot like maintaining a wax or sealant base layer with a spray wax or spray sealant. So
can I step in, guys? We've had two questions about the new long throws, the G15 and the G21. Sean Myers asked what is wrong with the backing plate with the G21. Now, the G21 came to market, and we quickly realized that we had a manufacturing error with the plate. One of the hardest hit suppliers to our orbital manufacturer was the backing plate manufacturer. It was a very specific and brand new design, and in their first run of manufacturing, they made an error. They called us on it before and told us after we had already released some of the tools. We wanted to ensure that did not happen with the G15 and quickly work to remedy it with the G21. The September 30th launch date for both of these tools, that is our best estimate. I presume it's going to be sooner than that. I know that the problem has been fixed, and anyone that currently has a G21 is going to get one of those new backing plates or an entirely new unit. So it's been definitely a false start for us. It's been a very difficult situation to bring a new product to market with all the supply chain disruptions we've had. So we do apologize for that. We're going to make it right, and that backing plate is going to be money when it is done.
Yeah, and thank you guys for your patience. You will not be disappointed with the product once we have it out to you for sure. So we're on top of that one.
We're actually getting questions that Fine Lab has a self-healing coating. So I have not explored that product, but yeah.
So speaking of that one specifically, maybe they have made a breakthrough. We'll have to check it out and see how it is. But I know there's some coatings out there, which this may be similar to what you're referring to, that claim self-healing, but you have to do some polishing to get that to happen, which kind of makes me question whether they're truly self-healing or if the polishing that's being recommended is what's doing the healing. So there are a lot of new ceramic maintenance products that are flooding the industry right now that will be marketed to maintain a ceramic. I've seen a couple that market that they'll remove water spots from a ceramic and things like that without degrading it too much further. However, keep in mind, anytime you're abrading the surface or using a highly alkaline or acidic chemical, even on a durable ceramic, you are going to shorten the life of that to some extent.
And at that point, your paint is self-healing too if you have to polish to remove defects.
Absolutely. So yeah, we'll look into that one more and maybe address that again in a future live for you guys. So
Yeah, and thank you guys for being fact checkers. I mean, the marketplace is large, and if we have not observed that, hey, that's on us, and we'll go take a look at it and learn about
constantly
it.
evolving. So yeah, we don't know everything. That's for sure.
We got a
love
lot
for
of fans of polygloss coming through.
That's awesome stuff, man. You guys are preaching to the choir here, but polygloss is amazing. If you haven't tried it, pick up a bottle for sure. Hey, do we have any codes or anything to give out this time? Or?
I don't think so. I know if you follow us on Instagram, they put out an offer today. You spend $25, get a free Best of Show detailer. I'll see if I can find that code and put it in the chat for everybody. Yeah, so that is going on right now.
Or it gives you a good reason to follow us on Instagram if you don't already.
Yeah, so once again, good segue. If you guys are just watching us for the first time, you're liking what you're seeing, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give us some love, some likes. We really like rewarding you guys when you come hang out with us in this live format. I just got the code. I'm going to type it into the chat. It is SMHCG. Get a free 22-ounce Best of Show detailer when you spend $25 or more directly at griotsgarage.com.
Awesome. Yeah, subscribe, guys. Subscribe.
And then we just got a question in the chat, which was actually our last pre-sub that we were going to talk about. Camaro Time NC said vinegar and water works better on glass than any cleaner. And that is definitely a myth.
Vinegar is acidic, so using it around automotive surfaces does leave some risk there. Not going to say it's a bad method to clean glass, but I would say there are safer, more effective products and methods out there. Two of those being our Ultra Premium Foaming Glass Cleaner or Window Cleaner. Yeah, so both awesome formulas, very easy to use, very quick. And a lot of glass, in my opinion, a lot of cleaning glass is the tool that you're using, not necessarily the liquid. I've cleaned glass with distilled water before pretty effectively using appropriate tools and techniques. So you could have the absolute best glass cleaning liquid out there, and if you're buzzing through it all haphazardly with a wadded up towel, you're not going to get a very good result. That's another one that we haven't mentioned about glass cleaning too.
What?
The one that you were doing in the photo. I don't think we've talked about that one yet.
Oh, the newspaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, cleaning glass with newspaper. I was just going to touch on, doesn't vinegar contain ammonia as well? Or am I wrong on that?
I don't think it contains ammonia. Okay. I know Windex does.
Yeah.
And so Windex and ammonia can degrade tint, which definitely makes it dangerous for interior window tints.
Ammonia is a common active in a lot of household window cleaners, might be the direction you're going there. But both we would recommend staying away from. Yeah, like Nick said, ammonia will tear up tint very quickly. So always double check if you're using something out of your, from under your sink or whatever, make sure it is ammonia free. But yeah, don't use vinegar. Also, I know Jeff mentioned it early in the comments, but stay away from steel wool on glass for removing water spots too. That can do some very irreversible damage, and replacing glass, especially in modern vehicles, is not cheap. So stay away from that steel wool. Oftentimes, if you use that, you're going to have to replace it anyways. So our fine glass polish is an excellent product that is very safe, but also very effective when used properly. I always use the glass pads with it, whether or not I'm doing it by hand or machine, because they add a lot of aggressiveness. And that's a much safer and more effective way, I would say, to remove water spots from glass 100%. Rather than vinegar and or steel wool. So.
Yes. And then touching on the newspaper, so current newspapers use soy-based ink, and they also lint more. Whereas, what type of?
It used to be petroleum-based.
Petroleum-based.
So yeah, back in the day, newspaper wasn't a bad thing to use on glass, and you could just throw it away afterwards. Because it was petroleum-based, it wouldn't bleed. The ink would not bleed from the paper. But nowadays, your ink will bleed and leave streaks all over the glass. So stay away from the newspaper. Our PFM dual weave glass towels are a much better solution.
Anything's better than newspaper, man.
Well,
Don't use paper towels either.
who reads newspapers anymore anyway?
Yeah, I was gonna say, are newspapers still a thing?
Showing our age here.
You millennials. I guess I'm a millennial too, but whatever.
Technically. All right. Well, we're getting pretty late here, guys. We've been going for over almost an hour 20 now. We do apologize for the late start. Had some unforeseen technical difficulties, but video guys got through those quickly, so they're always quick on their feet when we have technical issues. So thank you guys for getting us up and running, and thank all of you for being patient and sticking with us throughout this live. But I think we're
having good senses of humor through it.
I think we're gonna wrap it up. So Nick just commented the code in the comment section, SMHCG at checkout will get you a free 22-ounce Best of Show detailer when you spend $25 on anything. So pretty sweet add-on.
Yeah, one last thing too. Thank you for plugging the code one more time. Our next live is going to be a pretty special one. We're hoping finally to talk about the long throw tools, and we know we're going to have them in inventory. So once again, please subscribe, hit the like button and notification bell, just so we can keep coming at you and do more of these topics. If you like this topic, great. If you always want to leave us a note at social@griotsgarage.com, what you want us to talk about next, we'll put Sam and Stevie to work.
All right. If we didn't get to your question, we apologize. Please reach out to us individually, and we'll do our best at answering it for you. Thank you, guys. It was an awesome time. Have fun in your garage.
See you guys.